as we all know, is an author and editor living in Austin, Texas. Her novels include the fantasy books The Sisters Mederos, Book 1 of the Tales of Port St. Frey, and the series Books of the Gordath, Gordath Wood, Red Gold Bridge, and The Crow God's Girl, and the romance The Unexpected Miss Bennet.
So I'm going to read from a new project. It is not in any of the other worlds that I've written in. It's kind of a combination of some of the history about Queen Isabella of Spain, Catherine the Great, and Joan of Arc. If Odysseus' men had been competent enough warriors, the Red Brotherhood were men of a different stripe, a force of professional soldiers, the likes of which I had never before encountered. Sire Alborg, the leader in my knight, was perhaps in his 40th year, a wide man built like a tree stump. He was balding, and his face was a map of scars. His men were quick to obey him. Over the 3 nights we made camp, they were quick and efficient. Horses untacked, watered and fed and hobbled, men taking watch in shifts. There were no fires. I could tell they knew this region well because our campsites were all well sheltered and easily protected. We never camped in the open, not even in the scrub woods, and there was always a spring nearby. My only clothes were my penitence sack, now singed and dirty. I was given a horse blanket with which to cover myself when I slept, and I lay between Sire Alborg and the giant Sire Alcades, and neither touched me or did anything indecent. Each night I stared up at the sky, watching the stars wheel across the heavens, listening to the breathing of the men around me, the sighing and movement of the horses, and once the heartbreaking screech of a luckless small creature that fell prey to an owl. Each night I said my prayers and an extra one for Mars Roy, Jonah, and Odessio, begging God and the Anima to deliver them as I had been delivered. Despite myself, I always cried, tears leaking down my cheeks and into my ears, and I tried my hardest not to sniffle, and kept from moving to wipe my face because I admit I was frightened of bringing even the slightest attention to myself. The simple matter was this: I did not know if I had been rescued or if I were now a captive of yet another enemy. A bit of both, I expected. The Red Brotherhood called me Highness, but who they served and to what end, Sire Alborg told me nothing. So each night, as I laid myself down on the horse blanket and wrapped myself in it, I prayed for courage and understanding. The 3rd night, I woke from my uneasy dreams with a gasp. The stars had made their journey across the sky and the clouds had rolled in, so it was almost pitch black. I registered that a hand was on my shoulder and I tensed to defend myself, but Sire Alborg's voice came at once, at a whisper. You were thrashing in your sleep. Though you cannot sleep, you must yet be still. I moistened my lips. I beg your pardon, Sir Nun. I could hear him lie back down. If it were not so ridiculous, I would laugh, except for the noise it would make. He did not comfort me, did not ask if my dreams were plaguing me, spoke no words designed to placate. Instead, shut it, you endanger us all. Perversely, it soothed me anyway. Mars Roy would have pacified me, spoken sweet words, told me everything I wanted to hear. I felt a pang of guilt at my disloyalty. Did Mars Roy still live? I felt sleepiness pour itself over me and shut my eyes. I remembered no more dreams for the rest of the night. We broke camp at daybreak with the same brisk efficiency, and to the concert of bird song and under the strengthening warmth of the rising sun, we relieved ourselves, ate standing of our meat and fruit, and when the horses had been grained intact, we set out for the last day of our journey. Our road wound downward toward the plains, and here and there I could capture the glint of the great river Douro. Excitement grew. I turned my head to speak to Sire Alborg. Do we arrive in Castilia today? Yes, Highness. Do we go directly to the palace? A pause. Yes, Highness. I took a breath. The horse's gait quickened, and I amused myself to think he had caught my sense of urgency, though I knew he was responding to a signal from Alborg, who held the reins and wore the spurs. Do I meet my father? It was as if the entire Brotherhood were listening now. It was as if the entire world held its breath. Yes, Highness. His voice was as gruff as always. I nodded, wrapping my fingers in the horse's mane. I looked straight ahead between the horse's ears, focusing on the road before me when I asked, with my voice pitched so all could hear, do I meet my father in this world, or do I meet my father in heaven? I can speak only of your meeting with your earthly father, Highness. As to when you meet your father in heaven, that is up to him. So I was not to be brought to my death, a relief, because I did not think I would be rescued a second time, but I was not finished, and so I kept up my interrogation. You call me Highness, and you rescued me, for which I am most grateful. When I am Queen, and I was startled at how difficult that was to say, that word Queen, it was the first time I even thought of the implications of my sudden change in fortune. When I am Queen, the Red Brotherhood will be rewarded, should it continue to serve me in our country. But you have not answered the most important question. I demand you answer truthfully now. Who do you serve? Sire Alfred's voice was steady, and his reply was prompt. We serve Her Royal Highness Princessa Effenie, and we support her claims to the kingdom of Iber. Just as he said those words, we crested a rise on the sun-drenched highway and looked down below us, and that's it.